Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us today. My name is Crystal McCauley. I'm honored to be the Community Director for Mom Congress. I'm joined by Ebony Wren, our Program Director. Dr. Wren, thank you for being here. She's going to be screen sharing today and hiding out behind the scenes. We're also honored to be joined by Melody Tan from Congresswoman McClellan's office, and we will get started on our bill training today for the Child Care Assistance for Maternal Health Act. So this bill has been added to our mom's agenda, and today we're going to walk you through the steps as per usual on your notes on how to look up this bill. So the Child Care Assistance for Maternal Health Act is HR 5581. Ebony is going to just click on that link and show you where that link is going to take you. As usual, it takes you to congress.gov. If you're looking at this for the first time, just know that what we're asking you to do is go over to the tab on the right here that says co-sponsors. And you'll click there to see listed names of representatives that have already signed on to the bill. You'll see here this bill has just been introduced, so only the two original authors' offices are on congress.gov at the moment. And we'll address more in the future how people will be added there. But wanted to make sure that everybody knows how to find the bill number, how to look it up, and we can go ahead and go back to the slides. And I will put that link in the chat right now too, so you have that link to congress.gov. And then Ebony can go, oh, you already went to the next page, thank you. So next we're going to look at the Child Care Assistance for Maternal Health Act press release. Again, I'm going to drop this link for you in the chat here, but just letting you all see that this has some really fantastic information that shares about the bill. There's links down below at the bottom that have information on the bill text, the one pager, which is included in the slides here later on as well. So just great information for you all to have. And then we can go ahead and go back to the slides. And I will briefly introduce for you all and ask Melody to give a more thorough introduction. But Jennifer McClellan is the author of this bill. She is the Congresswoman for the 4th District of Virginia. And we can go to the next slide where I like to celebrate the fact that Jennifer McClellan, in addition to being a Congresswoman, is also a parent. So you can see here, Ebony, if you go to the next slide, there's a lovely photo of her and her partner and their 2 children. So we're excited to hear how she's being a champion for moms and families. And to that end, Melody, I will turn it over to you, and Ebony can take us to the next slide.
Yeah, thank you so much, Crystal, and thank you everyone for taking some time to spend with us today. Really excited to share more information about my boss and our work on this bill. My boss is also the first Black woman elected to Congress from Virginia. And as a mom herself, she's really understood a lot of the issues that I'm sure y'all are facing and understand personally. She is the mother of 2 kids and has experienced maternal health issues herself, as well as struggled with access to childcare. So in looking at this legislation, we were really interested in exploring what is the intersection between these 2 issues. There's been a ton of great work done in Congress on childcare. There's been a ton of great work done on maternal health. But there really hadn't been much at the intersection of these 2 really important, really pressing issues. So several months ago that I reached out to Crystal and Ebony and Mom Congress and just started talking about these issues and brainstorming where my boss could be a leader and really shine light on how these issues impact each other. So this resulted in, after many, many conversations with organizations, stakeholders, mothers, this resulted in HR 5581, the Child Care Assistance or Maternal Health Act, which we're glad to introduce on a bipartisan basis with Rep. Mace. So basically, this bill just addresses some of the challenges that families face during pregnancy, childbirth, and the postpartum period, and a lot of the stresses associated with just needing time for mental health, for physical health, wellness, rest, opportunities to prepare food, opportunities to catch up on sleep and go grocery shopping and take care of other children and other responsibilities as well, because we're very cognizant of a lot of the increasing incidents of postpartum depression and other mental health challenges during this period. So this bill, the goal was to create a demonstration program that would provide federal funding for short-term childcare support. So this would assist families in being able to access short-term childcare during pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum so that they could attend to some of these other needs and just lessen all the stresses and burdens and responsibilities that they were dealing with at that time. So specifically, this bill establishes a federal grant program administered by the Department of Health and Human Services. The grant program increases access to childcare. It will prioritize grant applicants that provide assistance connecting with longer-term childcare, knowing that this is a challenge both in the immediate time frame as well as down the road, something my boss can speak to very personally. It also prioritizes grant applicants that serve areas with higher maternal mortality and poverty rates, maternity care target areas, just recognizing that challenges are not equal across the country and across all communities, and we really want to uplift some of the more disadvantaged communities. The bill also prioritizes support for vulnerable populations, which include families with lower income, families experiencing homelessness, parents who are parenting single parent families, families with children with disabilities or other special healthcare needs as well. And finally, because there isn't a ton of data looking at the intersection between childcare access and maternal health outcomes, this bill will require the Department of Health and Human Services to identify successful activities for improving maternal health outcomes and report those to Congress with the goal of really establishing some successful activities that could be scaled up across the country in the longer term. So that's an overview. I'm very happy to dive deeper into any of these provisions and answer any questions. We're really happy to have worked with several amazing organizations in developing the language on this bill and have their endorsements. Those include the Association of Maternal and Child Health Programs, Bipartisan Policy Center Action, First 5 Years Fund, March of Dimes, Maternal Mental Health Leadership Alliance, of course, Mom Congress, the Policy Center for Maternal Mental Health, as well as 0 to 3. So that's just our quick overview. Very happy to get further into this or answer any questions, but we'll hand it back to Crystal.
Awesome, Melody. Thank you so much. It's very exciting to see this bill come to life. I'll ask one question is, as advocates are going forward and asking their legislators to sign on to this bill, we talked a little bit about the strategy that your office is going to take as far as adding co-sponsors. Can you give us a little insight there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're looking to keep this bill very bipartisan. We know this is an issue that affects people across the country, regardless of their politics. So we are planning to add co-sponsors to the legislation and bipartisan payers. So essentially, if another Democrat wants to join, we love that support, but we'd want to find another Republican to join as a co-sponsor before we add their names to the co-sponsor list on congress.gov. And that's just a technique offices use to make sure their bills stay very balanced and bipartisan, and it can be helpful as we look to advance this bill through Congress to really show that there's equal support across both sides of the aisle, and it's not just one party's priority.
Awesome, Melody. Thank you so much. Does anyone who's joined us live today have any questions for Melody while we have her here about the bill specifically? Of course, and if they come to you later, you're always welcome to send me an email and we will get an answer for you. The only other question I have is, do you know, does this have a price tag on the grant programs? Is there a suggested dollar amount that is being asked for?
Yes, so the bill authorizes $5 million a year for 5 years, so that HHS has funds to complete this demonstration program. And of course, we know appropriations is another fight, but certainly wanted to be considerate of the need to authorize significant amounts of funding so that this program could be carried out in a comprehensive and thoughtful way. And I think I saw one other question in the chat. Will it be bicameral? We are working on that. We're actively reaching out to Democratic and Republican offices on the Senate side, and some are taking a look and considering if they'll be our Senate leads.
Awesome.
I have a question. It's Christina Felder. Are you guys putting funding just towards like institutions or like daycares, or are you going to help the parents with in-home services? Just wondering.
Yeah, so we actually leave it pretty open-ended for grant applicants, which can be local entities, they can be nonprofits, to determine what solution makes the most sense for their community and what needs that they're seeing. We know that across the country, there's a whole range of childcare availability and structures, and people go to different sources to access childcare assistance. So we wanted to leave that open and up to the grant applicants to decide what made the most sense and what was accessible to the community. So that's something they're able to determine.
That's wonderful. Thanks for the question, Christina. That was a really awesome question. Well, greatly appreciated. I know that this gives me great hope. I'm very excited for your office to see the intersection and to be lifting it up in that way, because I think everybody on this call knows about maternal health and how childcare can uplift maternal health and maternal mental health as well. So we're grateful. Oh, here we go. Becky's got one more question. How are grants marketed to smaller community organizations? How do they know it would be there?
Yeah, thank you. That is such a great question, and something that RFS thinks about a lot. How do smaller organizations and especially disadvantaged communities, how do they get information about federal programs that might be available? And how do we make sure that we're not just targeting one subset of the population with these resources? So the bill actually does allow grant recipients to spend a portion of the funds they receive on comprehensive community outreach so that they can understand the situation in the community, what the specific needs are, tailor programs to those needs, and then also make sure that once there is a program up and running, families are aware of how to access it.
And that just made me think, Becky, when you asked that question with Melody's response about a tool that we can individually uplift more often as well, which is access to the grants.gov site. So essentially, if any community-based organization that you work with is looking to understand what grants might currently be available that they'd be eligible for, they can go on to grants.gov, or they can write to support at grants.gov, and they can get on kind of a listserv list. I mean, it's kind of it's they can determine what they would be eligible for, check those boxes, and then they will automatically receive an email from grants.gov when those funds become available for people to apply for. So I think there's a couple ways that we can approach that, but would love to share that information with membership as well. So great question, Becky. Thank you so much, because we know that so many of these great organizations that serve our communities all over are working in silos, and they don't necessarily know what's going on at the federal policy level or when the money might be available that they so desperately need to support their communities. So thank you very much for that thoughtful question. I think to that end, we can actually wrap up. I will
Hey,
again.
Crystal,
Yes,
can we,
ma'am.
I just saw some people. I'm trying to spare you all my voice. I saw some people join us. Can we drop the one pager link again and maybe the press release link? I just saw some people join us. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will drop those links in the chat again, and then here it'll only take me a couple minutes to get the recording circulated, and I can send that out with a copy of these slides as well. So anyone who's watching this retrospectively will also have access to those links here in the slides. So coming at you now is the link to the press release, as well as the one pager of information. And thank you all for your dedication to families and for being here with us today. Melody, thank you so much for all your time, but especially for today, for being in front of our advocates to help us learn about the bill. And we look forward to supporting its passage.
Yeah, thank you so much. We link the bill text, the endorsement quotes, and the one pager at the bottom of the press release, so everyone has everything in one place. But if any questions come up as y'all take a closer look, please feel free to reach out. We're really happy to continue this conversation, answer any questions. And I know our office really appreciates y'all's support in working to advance this bill.
Thank you so much. We're grateful for the partnership, and we will look forward to talking with you soon and seeing you in May. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Sounds great. Thank you all so much. Take care.